In this video, we're going to get into why long-term mass gain is not optimal for long-term maintenance of testosterone levels, or we're going to begin to, because in fact there are a few elements to consider as to the why, and I'll cover each element in a separate video. Now, bulking and the obsession with increasing muscle mass beyond your genetic potential involves, of course, being in a continuous calorific surplus. A calorific surplus involves eating more volume of food and often also eating more frequently. On the surface, there seems to be nothing wrong with doing this, but increased food intake and, as is often the case, increased meal frequency means that the body spends more time engaged in the process of digestion, and the digestive process consumes bodily energy, something that not many people realise. Yes, consuming food gives you energy, but it also takes a percentage of that energy value to actually digest the food. Now, according to the doctrine of Hatha Yoga, digestion consumes more energy than any other bodily process, and this is true, particularly when it comes to bodily expenditure, which is resting metabolic energy expenditure. Of course, physical training will take more energy than this is when you are, your resting metabolic rate energy expenditure. Now, the more food eaten means that we will spend more time engaged in the digestive process, resulting in a greater depletion of energy and vital force on a daily basis. And also your testosterone levels too. It's simple logic, because eating a meal, it decreases your testosterone levels. But one might think, therefore, that a caloric deficit would have the opposite effect, less time spent in the process of digestion, and this is also true. Less time spent in the process of digestion and eating less does consume less bodily energy to digest that food. But of course, this theory doesn't hold water, because caloric deficit does result in the body spending less time engaged in digestion, meaning that we consume less energy in doing so, but meaning less energy used in the digestive process itself. But the obvious negative effect of this, which we all know about already, is that this ultimately results in a nutrient deficiency of some kind, particularly macronutrient deficiencies. Nutrient deficiencies, of course, observed over any significant period of time, results in the body being deprived of vital energy stores within the body, and it, as we all know, it also crashes your testosterone levels too. The optimum is a balance between the two, being neither in caloric surplus or deficit. Once you have reached your full natural size gains potential, maintenance of that optimum size gains potential, is the best way to go once you reach that point. Failure to observe a state of balance within the body leads to an imbalance within the body, and any imbalances within the body often result in imbalances of our hormones, because our hormones, most of our bodily functions, are influenced by hormones of some kind. Our body produces more than 50 hormones, each of which has a specific function within the body. Now, there are a few things to consider when looking at this. What is often not considered, and what people in the fitness and nutrition spheres don't really talk about, is that when we consume food and are tracking our calories, that some of those calories will be used up by the body to provide the energy for the digestive process itself. Now, the digestive process also uses up and depletes testosterone at the same time. Not many people realise that eating depletes testosterone. But remember that this depletion of testosterone levels is not that significant and is unlikely to be noticed on a daily basis, as it will make no noticeable differences to our energy and well-being on that specific day. It is when this is done over long term, over time, and by this I mean years, that the problems will occur or can occur. Yes, it's necessary to eat to maintain our health and energy. Obvious. You may find it hard to believe that eating lowers testosterone levels, but it does, and nobody else is talking about this. This is why the clinics that carry out blood exams to determine testosterone levels ask you to be tested early in the morning when your testosterone levels are at their highest level. They also ask you not to eat anything before having the blood drawn. And why do you think they give you this advice to not eat anything before you come? Because eating depletes testosterone levels. This is a fact that cannot be ignored. Any worthy clinic will confirm what I'm saying. Call one up and find out. Testosterone is depleted throughout the day, every day. Everything that we do that consumes bodily energy, and this includes bodily functions at resting metabolic rate, also depletes our testosterone stores. We are utilising testosterone just in the same way that we are utilising energy. We all know that both energy and testosterone levels are at their lowest in the evening. This is a natural part of our circadian rhythm, which makes us feel tired and helps to prepare us from going to sleep. Now, we go to sleep to restore and recuperate our testosterone levels and our energy as well. At night, when testosterone is restored, your body has a certain capacity for producing a certain amount of testosterone, and this is determined by the health markers of your body at that specific point in time on that day or in the night as this is occurring, and what you did on that day. What you do today will determine what your testosterone levels are tomorrow. So if you're in a massive caloric surplus today, your testosterone level will be that much less when you wake up in the morning. It might only be a significant amount of nanograms per deciliter, but it will be lower. The more you deplete your testosterone stores on any given day determines the level that your testosterone will be at the following morning. Testosterone levels fluctuate constantly. Your individual testosterone producing capability is limited and regulated by other hormone secretions within the body. This is why testosterone levels fluctuate and never stay the same. We don't have a testosterone level of X amount of nanograms per deciliter. We have a testosterone range, usually. The consumption and digestion of food is just one of many things that happen to contribute to our testosterone levels being steadily depleted each day. This expenditure of energy during digestion cannot be avoided, of course. It's necessary to convert the nutrients into energy that can be utilised by the body, and this is known as the thermal effect of food. Calories are effectively a measure of energy. X amount of calories will produce Y amount in terms of kilojoules of energy. Weight gain or weight loss is determined by maintaining a balance between two things, energy input versus energy output. It's not as simple as counting calories. It's a matter of energy. Us humans are energy. The difference between a dead human and a living human is in the dead human, the energy is absent and has left the physical body. Now, when energy input exceeds energy output, weight is gained. When energy input is less than energy output, weight is lost. Brutally simple, theory to weight loss and weight gain. When energy output is tuned to the same as energy input and output are both the same, a state of harmonious balance is achieved. Balance correlates to our hormone production as well. Energy output includes our level of physical activity or our activity metabolism. We also require a certain amount of energy to keep us alive for all of our bodily functions, including when we are at rest, and this we call our base metabolic rate. We also need to consider any energy that's added to the body. For example, amino acids added to muscle and fat tissue, fat added to fat tissue, in terms of adipose tissue, visceral fat, subcutaneous fat, etc. We also lose some of the energy when our body excretes waste and when energy is used to digest the foods we eat. This all correlates to energy output. But of course, when we consider the fact that our body uses up energy to digest the food we eat, energy in is not as simple as just consuming a number of calories, as many perceive to be the case. Eating uses up energy, which amounts to using up a percentage of caloric value. Now, chewing food, secretion of saliva, production of stomach acids, production of digestive enzymes, muscular contractions needed to move the food through the various phases of the digestive tract, the absorption of nutrients, the breaking down of the food so that these nutrients can be absorbed, the absorption of that food. This all takes energy. There's an energy price to pay for this. And this energy comes from the calories that we consume. The average person can be using anything from between 10 and 30% of their total daily input by digesting and absorbing nutrients from food, depending on what you're eating. And because how much energy is used depends on the type of food that we're eating. Now, different types or categories of food use up varying amounts of caloric value in the digestive process. Protein, which is usually consumed in moderate to high amounts in men looking to build muscle, takes the most energy to digest. Around 30% of total protein calories consumed are typically used just to digest it. Carbohydrates typically use up around 10% of total carbohydrate calories just to digest it. Fat typically uses up around 5% of total fat calories. Now, interestingly enough, processed food was found in a study to use less energy to digest. In this study, it was found that eating clean whole foods, took up to 46% more energy to digest than processed food. In this study, the total energy needed to digest the whole food was 576 kilojoules, and for the processed food it was 310 kilojoules. This explains why processed food tend to lead to weight gain. Compared to whole foods, processed food contain much less nutrient value and a lot of negative calories. So the more nutrient rich the food, the more energy the body uses to convert those nutrients into energy to be used by the body. This is why dirty bulking is so effective. So, in reality, 100 calories of processed food provides more net calories than 100 grams of whole food. Now, net calories is the caloric value that remains after the caloric expenditure of digestion has been removed. Considering that most guys looking to increase lean muscle mass and gain size and weight tend to be observing high protein diets derived from mainly clean whole foods, this means that a percentage of net caloric value is lost in the process of digesting it. This is why it's always good advice, if you're looking to develop your musculature, to eat a high protein diet, because you're not getting as much as you think you're getting. The longer and more frequently the process of digestion is taking place within the individual, the more energy is being consumed or depleted. Now, in the terms of a high protein diet, you are using up more energy effectively to consume your food. But of course, balance that out with the fact that you need amino acids from protein to build the muscle in the first place. It's like a catch-22 situation, and everything must be balanced. The more you deplete energy throughout the day, the more you deplete your supplies of testosterone on that given day. Low testosterone brings the symptom of low energy. Low energy negatively affects testosterone level and testosterone production. Now, so going back to the concept of the ideal physique for testosterone that I covered in an earlier video, this is the logical and factual basis for me suggesting that the stereotypical archetype physique used in testosterone thumbnails with the huge muscles and a lot of mass is not the optimum ideal physique for the long-term maintenance of healthy testosterone levels. A thing to consider is that many gym guys tend to observe mass gain cycles followed by cutting cycles, and then repeating the process in a continuous manner over many years. Cut, bulk, cut, bulk, cut, bulk, cut, bulk, cut, incessantly and continuously. This is done to increase muscle mass, which of course involves, when you increase mass, that includes fat gains. So then you've got to do a cutting cycle to chisel and attempt to hone the appearance of the musculature, to create a more conditioned body. A continuous state of engaging in caloric surplus, caloric deficit, caloric surplus, caloric deficit, both of which are stressors on the body. Both caloric surplus and caloric deficit create bodily imbalances on a continuous basis over many years. This is a recipe for reduced testosterone. The key is to be maintaining muscle size while conditioning at the same time. This is not so detrimental as long as the genetic potential of muscle gains is maintained and not exceeded. Reach your full genetic potential for muscle gains, and then observe maintenance calories. The amount of calories, energy in equals energy out. You are balanced. When you are balanced, all of your hormones will be balanced too. And it's a fact that there is a uniform decline in testosterone levels among regular gym guys, and this cannot solely be put down to steroid use, because this is happening to a lot of natural guys, and this is, I believe, why. However, because when guys are following a mass gain diet, they are observing caloric surplus on a daily basis. This caloric surplus, of course, is needed in order to attempt to increase size and muscle mass. This type of dietary strategy involves eating more meals each day, and often bigger meals too, which all takes longer to digest. You're spending longer in the process of digestion. Eating bigger meals, eating more frequently, consumes much more energy. Digestion uses up more energy than any other base metabolic process in the human body, and this results in an increased level to the depletion of testosterone levels each day. Eating, of course, is vital to testosterone levels, catch-22 situation, and the maintenance of healthy levels. This cannot be denied. Training helps to promote and maintain healthy testosterone levels, another fact. But as we know, overtraining has a negative effect on testosterone levels. Rest and recovery is essential to maintain any level of balance. Overeating or being in a continuous caloric surplus is the same as overtraining. It can also have a negative effect on testosterone levels, and also needs to have a level of balance applied to it. The digestive tract also requires adequate rest and recovery from any prolonged exertions or stressors. A fast every now and again, might help in that situation. I will offer up some effective solutions to help fix this in an upcoming video that you won't find anywhere else on YouTube. That's what all this series is about. This series, you will not find this on anywhere else on YouTube or any other platform, because nobody else has thought of this. Now, back to it, drifting off a little there. Now, on a bulk, you're constantly digesting food, and this is constantly using up energy. Constantly using up energy in this way will also deplete testosterone. This is unlikely to be noticed on a day-by-day basis, because testosterone is being replenished to a certain degree overnight. However, the body, as I've already mentioned, has a specific capacity for producing testosterone, and this process will become disrupted if your body is imbalanced in any way. The more your testosterone is depleted throughout the day to day, the more effect this will have on your testosterone level first thing tomorrow morning. On a day-by-day basis, you won't notice any difference. It's probably a significant number of nanograms per deciliter, but it is slowly chipping away at your testosterone levels over time. By this I mean years. We all know that overtraining will tank testosterone levels. We all know caloric deficit and running body fat that is too low will also tank testosterone levels, and even overeating especially when that regime is observed over many years, will also affect testosterone levels in a negative way. Over time, particularly in guys who observe this kind of regime for some years, this will contribute towards a gradual depletion of testosterone levels over especially a decade or two. A man who begins training at 20 and reaches 40 and has been training the whole time, following this regime, this will make a huge difference to his testosterone levels. In the next video, another element we need to consider now, insulin, how insulin plays a part in all of this. Subscribe to this channel, follow this series for more.